Hey everybody, good morning. I have a very powerful story to share with you guys live. So whoever's gonna see this live, you're in for a little paranormal journey, spiritual. Actually, I say even my website, The Mystical Spiral. It's not. It's mystical because it's been shut off, kept away from us. But in fact, none of it is mystical. It's a normal condition of life that a lot of us have been shut off to and not paying attention to. And I have a very special story to share with you, and the amazing connections that were made to contact me were just incredible. And I wasn't, I didn't at first. I wasn't going to share it at all with the public, but it's a very special and powerful story. And the reason why I want to share it is to pay honor to the ones that have passed, and that many would never know about if it wasn't for my video right now, and for me bringing their life to a celebration. And unfortunately they met with tragedies, but hopefully there's some sort of bigger grand design to it all. And the story starts back in 1975, 2 years before I was conceived. And on my block, on my family's block where my parents lived, there was a Dominican family who moved in. Their last name was Santana. And they had 2 children, wife and father. And I don't know much about the family. I know the father had gotten a job. He had a good job. They came from the Dominican Republic. They were brand new to this country. And they were living where my parents were, on the same street. And then a lot of kids were living on that street at that time. And people heard screaming. My father and other fathers ran to the house, and they found the kid's father pulling the young boy who was 3.5 years old out of the pool, who had drowned. And by the time they all pulled him out of the pool, it was too late. Now, I don't know the specifics of the story of how the kid ended up in the pool. Where was his brother? Why didn't his brother save him, who was outside there too? All this other things. I don't know the specifics of the family. How the parents' relationship was, or how they treated their kids. I don't know any of that, right? I wasn't born until 2 or 3 years after the tragedy. By the time I was born, the family, in fact, had moved away. They moved away shortly after the little boy drowned. The little boy's name was Gilbert Santana, right? So fast forward into my teenage years, I had an experience where I saw a little boy, and it looked like that. I got this vibe that he was getting abused or something like that, although I'm not sure about that. So if it's wrong, I don't want to speculate about this family, because the poor kid passed away. But I was getting like a vibe, and it was like almost like a holographic image of a little boy right in front of the house of that area where that little boy lived. And my parents had not told me at that time that a little boy drowned there. I didn't know about this, right? So then my mom told me the story when I was a teenager about how the boy had passed away in that house. And in fact, the new people had moved in were friends with my family at that time. So I didn't even know someone else lived in that house prior to them, and let alone a boy had passed in the pool. So I was getting these visions of this kid, like when I was like 15 or 20, and even in my 20s, I saw a couple of times on my street. I saw a kid in that area, a little boy that vanished, that I was just seeing like an imprint of him, right? So I didn't think about it for 20 years after that. Then the other day, I was leaving a doctor's office building, and I happened to bump into a nurse that works there that used to live on my block before I was born and when I was a little baby. And she started to ask me, does these people still live there? Did that people still live there? And then she was like, were you alive when that poor boy drowned, that poor tragedy? And I was like, no, I wasn't alive, but I heard about it, and I didn't even tell her about the stories of seeing possibly his spirit or some sort of imprint of him. I didn't even say that. But this was 3 days ago that I bumped into that lady who mentioned this kid Gilbert Santana that passed away on my street. So that very same day, which was a couple of days ago, that very same day, I was here at that deli across the street getting breakfast. And whenever I'm at that deli, I walk across the street over here because one of my best friends that passed away, he was a bass player in my band, really good dude, unfortunately he died of an overdose. His name was Santi Sparta, and Santi's buried right here in the second row, right near the road right here. So whenever I'm at that deli, I walk across the street and visit Santi's grave. So let me take you on a journey to tell you what happened and why this involves that little boy. Now, that little boy, I didn't realize might have been buried around here because I didn't even put two and two together, but his family had moved away to the Dominican Republic or somewhere else after he died. So I don't know if they left the country or what, but you know, this is in honor of my friend Santi as well, that unfortunately passed away, but he was an awesome musician, really good dude. I'm gonna make this video private just for my members only after this. So if you're catching this live and you're not a member, then you were able to catch this. But there was some serious stuff that happened. I'm gonna share with you guys. So I was here at my buddy Santi's grave. He was a great bass player, right? So there was 4 rocks on top of this grave. And in a matter of 10 minutes, they had disappeared. And my friend Dave, who I know, I saw his car up there, who visits his mom grave over there. I had walked over to say hi to him. And by the time I got back to to Santi's grave, the 4 rocks were gone on top of this grave. And then, you see, I had put that blue cross there. And I had put and then everything slowed down around here. I couldn't hear the sound of the road. I couldn't hear the birds anymore. I didn't feel the bugs around me anymore. Just everything stopped. And I looked over, and the grave next to it said, Ra, go to the front. That's how I read it. You see how it's frontino? And this is Ra, go to the... I had looked over. The grave next to it has my mom's birthday, January 1st, and my mom's anniversary, November 27th. I looked over, I saw those dates, I looked up, it said Ra, go to, that's how I read it. I didn't see the D part. I said Ra, go to the, and I looked over at the next grave and it said front. You see frontino? So then I looked over here and I walked to the front, right here, the front row. This is the front row. So I'm like, something's telling me to go to the front of the cemetery. So I'm going right here to the front of the cemetery. And right as I'm leaving the cemetery, now the stuff wasn't there that you see over there. Right as I'm leaving the cemetery, I look over at this grave right here. And it said Santana Gilbert, November 1971 to July 19th, 1975. And this happened 3 days ago, right? So, I couldn't believe it. I hadn't talked about this kid in 20 years. I bump into the nurse that used to live on my block that very morning. She mentions this kid's name. And then I go to my friend, that same day, I go to my friend's grave, and I have that experience, tells me go to the front. I go to the front, and I see that very kid's name that used to live on my block, Gilbert Santana. And then I realized that his name means Saint Tana. My daughter's name is Tana, and my daughter is the very exact same age as when this kid died. This kid died, he was 3.5 years old, right next door to my parents' house. His last name is Saint Tana. And my daughter's the very same age as when he passed away. So, you know, and it's obvious that nobody's been at this grave for a long time. So I made sure I came back today on his birthday. When my friend Dave met me here, we brought him flowers, we brought him balloons, I brought him a Matchbox toy, and a little ninja to protect him, some wood, Palo Santo wood, right? And yeah, I always believed that maybe he could be, maybe even reincarnation happened in similar zones, right? In similar coordinates and linked to similar people, right? Who knows? But Saint Tana, and my daughter's that same age as he is right now, as he was when he passed. In fact, this year he would have been 50 years old, Gilbert. And the fact that the grave next to my friend's had my mom's birthday on it and my mom's anniversary, and it said, "Ra, go to the front." And then I come here, and that's not all. My friend Dave met me here today, my friend Dave. And we both, you know, brought presents to this kid. And I also, you know, because he was there for the story, and he actually thought he saw a group of people standing around me at one point when I was standing at the grave, but there was just me. And then he had to double look, right? So then today, Dave meets me here, and we're at, you know, I brought him over to my friend's, you know, to Santi's grave to show him the whole story of how I saw that grave next to me. And while we were there, it was about an hour ago, nobody was here. And in fact, it started raining as soon as this happened. But nobody was here, right, in this cemetery. Hardly any cars were even passing. It was just me and my friend Dave at Santi's grave. And I was telling him, unfortunately, how Santi passed. You know, the story of him, of how he passed at his mom's house. And we heard, all of a sudden, like a woman's voice. It was just happened about for a second. It went, and it seemed to come out of the ground, the sky, every area around us. It sounded like a woman sobbing. And to add to the story is Santi's mother was passed a few years ago, and she's buried at that spot with him. Her and her son are buried right there. And it almost sounded like her, when she possibly found Santi passed away in the downstairs of the house. It sounded similar to somebody witnessing a horrible sobbing. And it was a woman. And my friend Dave heard it as well. We looked around, there was nobody around. Nobody, and it came out of like all over around us. Really intense. Maybe like I shouldn't have been talking about how Santi passed, you know, in front of his mom's grave right there, but I didn't mean any disrespect at all. I was just telling my friend, unfortunately, how he passed. You know, I come there all the time to visit him, and it's also his mom's grave, but it was intense, man. You know, and unfortunately when Santi passed, his family was pissed off at his friends when his friends had nothing to do with it, you know. It's unfortunate, but it's also connected to this young boy who passed away when he was 3.5 years old. I brought him some toys. You know, I brought him a piece of something, an offering from my daughter as well, one of my daughter's toys. You know, very interesting. Really intense. And by the way, this is right on the shores of the Hudson River, across the streets of the Hudson River, and the High Tor Mountains that you see right there with the very spooky mist. The mist in the morning was all around these graves when that happened. You see the mist from the mountains almost covers the mountain peak all around us. Really? This is really, yeah, it really is an incredible story. And my friend Dave was like, wow, this story should be in like a book. It really should. But yeah, it was really intense. And the auditory scream that I heard, the sobbing, was really bad as well. And today is Gilbert's birthday. You know, July 19th. He would have been, I mean, not his birthday. Today is the anniversary of when he passed away. July 19th. It was really intense. So thank you guys for joining me. Let me see if I have you guys in the chat room before we go anywhere. Oh wow, oh, you got the copper tentacle. Yeah, everybody. And for those that don't know, anybody who makes a purchase will receive free labradorite. I have some free labradorite I've been giving out, and some free petrified wood sometimes, and different, I give out free items with every gift. And today if someone makes a purchase today, I'll also include two presents, two special surprises. And I have all new package deals that are available on my website with copper charging devices, copper face masks that come with palm stones and all sorts of things. So there's definitely got to check that out. Petrified wood is very interesting because it's literally 200 million years old, and it comes from the Hopi land, from where near the Arizona petrified forest. And I actually had to get it from dealers that actually carry Hopi petrified wood, because it's illegal to take the petrified wood off of their sacred land and from the petrified forest. So I also show on my website the card that comes with it to prove that where it was gotten from and all that. But it's a very ancient memory, and it's very ancient, and it helps you, it helps you retain memory. It helps you with memory. It helps you like with certain forces like that. If you're looking to help with your memory, help connect to ancient history of certain locations and things like that, that's the kind of recordings and imprint that it carries with it. So old that it retains memory. It helps you retain memory. It helps you contact and connect with ancient knowledge. And it brings good spirits when you get it from native lands. Like when you get it from someone that it's actually helping their reservation. It's helping their situation. People that are reported have stolen it from places have wanted to ship it back because they felt like that they took it illegally, that there was some kind of negative energy attached to it. So it's definitely not worth stealing it from the petrified forest and stealing it from the native land, for sure. But I have all sorts of phases of petrified wood. Raw petrified wood, some of it that has been polished, more like a stone that you could carry with you. Some that looks like actual wood that, it's really intense. But there's all sorts of things on there. I even have some amazing 10-inch selenite wands that were charged at the ancient Catstone dolmen, the balanced rock, and they're literally like petrified rays of light. You could see the fibers in them. It's really amazing. So they're pretty good deal too. So shipping is included as long as you live in the United States. So like for $26, it's shipping and everything's included. It costs like $5 or $6 just to ship that thing. So it's definitely worth it. Guys, check me out at the Mystical Spiral store. And definitely, if you guys get a chance today, please say a prayer for little Gilbert Santana that passed away on July 19th, 1975. And for my brother Santi, who should have lived and had a family and shared his music with the world. And he could play through me. There's times where I've been playing music where I sensed him around me. In fact, some cassette tapes that I made early on after he passed, it almost seemed like there was a bass player in the background when I was playing solo. Very interesting things. And let me not remind you that Santi's name means saint as well, Saint Sparta. And Gilbert's last name is Saint Tana, Santana. So those are not coincidences. And I did not name my daughter Tana with any reference to Santana in any way. It's an ancient Italian name and Greek name that means star goddess. So guys, thank you for joining me, and please say a prayer for little Gilbert. Today was the anniversary that he passed away, and he crossed over in water inside a portal. It's an honor for you guys to share it to me. Yep, I put the Palo Santo there with him, and a lot of my on my website, when you guys make a purchase, a lot of times I include sage and things like that. There's always some little presents inside. So please support me, and you could get a once-in-a-lifetime crystal or stone or copper tensor tool on my website. And anybody that purchases today, they will get 2 free gifts, labradorite and another one. So check me out, and much love to you guys. For those that don't know, I am starting what's called the Quasar Network, where I'll be telepathically sharing some telepathic astronomy, astrobiology, geology. Yup, telepathic. Yup, that's a little bit of a remote viewing of certain locations, certain sites, certain things in space, and it's going to be where you guys can share your results as well. So you can find that at patreon.com/themysticalspiral. And thank you guys for joining me as we spiral out.